Knicks won by 7, but part 1 is done.
Latrell Sprewell once lived like a superstar, earning nearly $100 million and playing in an NBA Finals. Today, he lives a quiet life in Milwaukee, far removed from the fame and financial power he once held. His story is dramatic, complicated, and full of avoidable turning points. It begins in Milwaukee. Latrell Fontaine Sprewell was born in 1970 and spent his earliest years in Milwaukee before moving to Detroit during middle school. His family life was unstable at times, and the frequent transitions shaped his competitive drive. Basketball did not dominate his childhood the way it did for many future stars. He was not raised in a pipeline of elite youth competitions, and he did not play organized basketball until much later than typical prospects. The late start is one of the more surprising parts of his biography. Sprewell moved back to Milwaukee for high school and did not join the basketball team until his junior year. Even when he started playing, he was far from polished. Coaches saw pure, raw talent and energy rather than refined fundamentals. By his senior year, he averaged roughly 26 points per game, showcasing an explosive ability to score, run the floor, and defend multiple positions. Recruiters noted his athletic upside, but they also recognized how much room he had to grow. Junior colleges saw an opportunity to develop him, and Three Rivers Community College became his next step. At Three Rivers, Sprewell began to grow into his identity as a defender, competitor, and relentless athlete. His scoring improved each season, but it was his toughness and motor that earned attention. His defensive numbers, including steals and deflections, placed him among the leaders on the team. College scouts from major programs noticed, and the University of Alabama became his next destination. In college, Sprewell played under coach Wimp Sanderson and steadily improved across 2 seasons. As a senior, he averaged nearly 18 points per game and became known for his ability to attack off the dribble, finish through contact, and guard elite players. His three-point shooting improved, and his versatility made him attractive to NBA scouts. By the end of the season, analysts projected him as a late first-round pick. His workouts confirmed that projection. His vertical leap tested strongly, his lateral movement was impressive, and he demonstrated the intensity that would define his professional career. In the 1992 NBA Draft, the Golden State Warriors selected him with the 24th pick.
Hi, I'm Latrell Sprewell. I play guard for the Golden State Warriors.
The Warriors needed athletic wings, and Don Nelson believed Sprewell's defensive potential would give the team flexibility. He stepped onto the court, ready to compete immediately. In his rookie season, he averaged more than 15 points per game and ranked among the top newcomers in steals, averaging close to 2 per game. His ability to guard elite wings from the opening tip surprised veterans, and Nelson rewarded him with significant minutes. He quickly became a fan favorite, not for flashy dunks, but for energy, defense, and relentlessness. By his second season, Sprewell had transformed from a promising rookie into a foundational player. He averaged more than 21 points per game and took on the responsibility of leading both the offense and defense. Golden State lacked roster continuity during those years, but Sprewell was the constant. His mid-range game expanded, his ball handling improved, and he became comfortable attacking off isolation sets. On defense, he routinely guarded the best perimeter scorer. His stamina allowed him to play long stretches without rest.
It perfectly, and he saves the ball in front of Nelly.
The 93-94 season was the highlight of his time in Golden State. He averaged nearly 22 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists, while earning an All-NBA first-team selection. This placed him among the top players in the league. His scoring came from drives, pull-ups, and transition opportunities. His defense remained elite. Teammates spoke openly about how his energy elevated practices, and Don Nelson trusted him to anchor the team's identity on both ends. Sprewell made 4 All-Star teams in his career, and this early stretch in Golden State was where he established himself as one of the best wings in the league. His combination of athletic force, conditioning, and competitiveness made him a unique player. He averaged more than 20 points per game for 3 straight seasons, logged heavy minutes, and rarely dealt with injuries. His peer ratings remained above league average, and his impact on both ends of the floor made him one of the most complete players in the Western Conference.
If I had to pick one thing, I just want to dunk on somebody.
Yet despite his individual success, the Warriors struggled with inconsistency. Coaching changes, roster turnover, and internal disagreements created a difficult environment. Sprewell's leadership style was emotional. He demanded intensity from teammates, but sometimes that passion created friction. The team missed the playoffs several times, and frustration grew steadily. By the mid-1990s, tension between Sprewell and the Warriors' coaching staff had reached a concerning level. His relationship with PJ Carlesimo was strained from the beginning of the season. Carlesimo was known for a strict confrontational coaching style. He emphasized discipline and did not hesitate to criticize players sharply during practice. Sprewell disliked this approach. Multiple teammates later described practices filled with shouting and frustration. Even early in the season, players could sense that the two were not compatible. As losses piled up and pressure increased, the relationship deteriorated even further. This tension set the stage for one of the most infamous incidents in NBA history.
Carlesimo sparked the emotional kindling that had been built for weeks inside his top player.
By December of 1997, the Golden State Warriors were in a difficult stretch. The team underperformed, and frustrations climbed with each loss. Practices became tense. Carlesimo pushed the roster hard, calling for sharper execution and more discipline. Players noticed that Sprewell grew increasingly irritated with his tone. The exchanges between the two escalated, and observers inside the organization sensed that the situation was heading in the wrong direction.
We just heard a ball slam, and the next thing you know, Sprewell has...
On December 1st, 1997, everything reached a tragic turning point. During practice, after a heated verbal exchange, the confrontation between Sprewell and Carlesimo became physical. Witnesses described Sprewell approaching Carlesimo angrily after being challenged to improve his passing. In a moment that shocked teammates and staff, Sprewell choked Carlesimo before teammates intervened. Reports also stated that Sprewell confronted Carlesimo again later in the same session. The news spread quickly, and the league reacted strongly. The NBA suspended Sprewell for 68 games, one of the harshest penalties in the history of the sport. The suspension cost him millions of dollars and changed the trajectory of his public reputation. Golden State voided the remainder of his contract following the incident, although an arbitrator later reinstated it. Still, the decision signaled that his time with the Warriors was over. The incident became national news, dominating sports media. Analysts debated whether the punishment was too harsh or not harsh enough. Sponsors distanced themselves from him, and fans around the country viewed him differently. Some still believed in his talent, but many saw him as volatile. His standing in the league transformed almost overnight. Despite the controversy, the New York Knicks decided that Sprewell deserved a second chance.
An axe in American life? Whoever said that obviously didn't know Latrell.
In early 1999, the Knicks traded for him, creating a new chapter in his career. New York fans reacted with skepticism, unsure how someone coming off one of the league's biggest scandals would fit in. What followed became one of the more compelling redemption arcs of the era. Sprewell joined a veteran Knicks roster that included Allen Houston, Larry Johnson, and Patrick Ewing. Jeff Van Gundy, known for emphasizing defense and accountability, built a culture where Sprewell's competitiveness could thrive. He accepted coming off the bench early in the season, which surprised some critics. His effort and focus earned praise from teammates. New York fans embraced him as his scoring and defense became consistent strengths. He averaged more than 16 points per game during the regular season, while contributing significantly on defense. His field goal percentage hovered around 43%, and he gave the Knicks a dynamic slashing threat alongside Houston's perimeter shooting. His effort in practices restored some of his reputation among coaches and analysts. Sprewell became a player New York could rely on late in games. The Knicks entered the 1999 playoffs as an 8th seed. Sprewell elevated his performance at exactly the right time. He averaged close to 20 points per game during the postseason and routinely played more than 40 minutes. His athletic drives, mid-range scoring, and defensive intensity powered the Knicks through surprising upsets. New York defeated top-seeded Miami, then advanced past Atlanta and Indiana to reach the NBA Finals. Sprewell was instrumental in every series. Against San Antonio in the finals, Sprewell played some of the best basketball of his career. In Game 5, he scored 26 points and nearly carried the Knicks to a victory that would have extended the series. He shot around 47% over the course of the finals and emerged as New York's top offensive option. Analysts praised his resilience and his ability to overcome the shadow of the 1997 incident. His reputation rebounded significantly during this period. Sprewell remained a strong contributor for the Knicks over the next several seasons. His scoring stayed within the 14 to 19 point range, and he provided quality defense on opposing wings. Although the Knicks as a team declined after their finals run, Sprewell's individual effort remained steady. His work ethic regained respect within the league, and many fans in New York still speak positively about his time there. In 2003, the Knicks traded Sprewell to the Minnesota Timberwolves. Minnesota had an elite core in place, led by Kevin Garnett and Sam Cassell. The team hoped that adding Sprewell would push them deeper into the playoffs. The move paid off immediately. The 2004 Timberwolves recorded 58 wins, the best season in franchise history. Sprewell averaged nearly 17 points per game, shot well from three-point range in key stretches, and continued to play heavy minutes on both ends. His fit alongside Garnett was notable. Garnett dominated the mid-range area and acted as the team's emotional leader. Cassell provided strong perimeter scoring. Sprewell filled the role of slasher and perimeter defender, using his experience to balance the offense. During the playoffs, Minnesota made its deepest run of the year, reaching the Western Conference Finals. Sprewell logged more than 37 minutes per game and helped Minnesota compete against top-tier opponents. However, entering the 2004 season, decline began to show. Sprewell was 34 years old. While still productive, his efficiency dipped. His field goal percentage fell to around 41%, and his defensive speed showed signs of slowing. Minnesota's front office faced difficult decisions. They appreciated Sprewell's role in their success, but could not ignore the impact of age and the downward trend in performance. In October of 2004, the Timberwolves offered Sprewell a 3-year contract extension worth $21 million. The offer averaged $7 million per season, reflecting their belief in him as a contributor, but acknowledging the realities of aging. Instead of accepting, Sprewell rejected the contract publicly and expressed dissatisfaction with the offer. He stated, "I have a family to feed," a comment that quickly spread across media platforms. Fans reacted negatively to the remark. With millions of dollars on the table, many viewed his comment as arrogant or out of touch. Analysts criticized his understanding of market value at his age. The Timberwolves withdrew the offer and declined to renegotiate. This was the moment Sprewell's career shifted dramatically. The NBA market became unforgiving. Teams around the league were unwilling to offer substantial money to a player in his mid-30s with a history of volatility and declining metrics. Sprewell did receive offers, but they were limited to veteran minimum contracts or mid-level deals well below his expectations. He rejected each one. He believed he was worth far more and refused to accept a reduced role or salary. As a result, no agreement was reached, and Sprewell never played another NBA game after the 04-05 season. His career ended abruptly, not because of injuries, but because he misjudged his market value at a critical moment. From 2005 onward, the financial consequences accelerated quickly. Without NBA income, without endorsements, and with substantial lifestyle expenses, Sprewell began to experience serious financial issues. His career earnings, estimated at nearly $100 million, could not sustain the pace of spending or satisfy legal obligations that had accumulated.
Anyone has a handle on who Latrell Sprewell is.
Within a few years, the first major financial setback became public. The first major sign of financial trouble came when Sprewell's $1.5 million yacht was repossessed. Reports indicated he had defaulted on payments and that the vessel eventually sold at auction for roughly $856,000, significantly below the amount owed. The story caught national attention, becoming a symbol of how quickly his financial situation had deteriorated. Soon after, more issues surfaced. His home in Milwaukee entered foreclosure proceedings, revealing serious debt concerns. A larger mansion in Westchester County, New York, also faced foreclosure. These properties had been emblematic of the earnings and lifestyle he maintained during his playing career, yet within a short period of retirement, he could no longer keep them. The rapid loss of assets reflected a troubling pattern of financial mismanagement and unrealistic expectations about future income. Tax problems added another layer of difficulty. Wisconsin authorities filed a lien for more than $3 million in unpaid taxes. Additional liens followed, and legal records showed multiple disputes connected to overdue obligations. Child support cases created further financial pressure, and each lawsuit increased the strain. Without sustainable income and with obligations accumulating, his financial position weakened considerably. During these years, Sprewell attempted to return to the NBA, hoping to secure a final contract that would stabilize his finances. Multiple teams reached out with offers, but none matched the value he believed he deserved. Veteran minimum contracts, which ranged from $1 to $2 million depending on experience, were seen by Sprewell as too low. Mid-level exception deals from some teams were also rejected because they did not reflect the financial status he expected. Unfortunately, the league had already moved past the period where he held high market value, and his insistence on a significant salary closed the door on potential opportunities. The NBA landscape evolves quickly. Younger, cheaper players fill roster spots, and teams often prefer flexibility over committing to veterans whose performance may decline each year. For Sprewell, this reality collided with his perception of his standing in the league. By the time he realized the market would not shift in his favor, the offers had dried up completely. His final NBA appearance in the 2005 season marked the end of his professional career. As the financial situation worsened, media coverage grew more intense. Analysts discussed how a player with nearly $100 million in career earnings could reach such a vulnerable position. His contract decisions, especially the rejection of the $21 million extension, became central to these discussions. The moment symbolized not only a lost financial opportunity, but an inflection point that changed his future. It became a lesson cited frequently when discussing financial literacy among athletes. Despite the negative attention, Sprewell preferred to remain private during this period. He rarely addressed the media in depth. Public sightings became less frequent, and interviews were minimal. Friends and former teammates sometimes referenced his situation when discussing the broader challenges that retired players face, particularly regarding money management, long-term planning, and pride during negotiations. As years passed, Sprewell's public presence diminished significantly. Instead of being a constant figure in NBA media and analysis, he slipped into a quieter life in his hometown of Milwaukee. Reports indicated that he moved into a modest rental property. Neighbors and local residents described him as polite, private, and often quiet. This was a sharp contrast from the height of his fame, when he played in front of roaring Madison Square Garden crowds and lived a lifestyle supported by millions in annual income. In his current phase of life, Sprewell maintains a connection to basketball through part-time work with the New York Knicks in community relations. This role involves public appearances at team events, fan interactions, and participation in promotional activities. While far from the income level of an NBA salary, it provides stability and a continued link to the sport that defined much of his life. He also makes occasional guest appearances in media segments, although these are limited. Sprewell is not entirely absent from the public eye.
Oh, Spree in the house. They're all here tonight.
Fans still see him at certain Knicks events, and he appears in select NBA-related charity programs. He has been spotted in Milwaukee stores, and some fans share photos with him on social media. However, this limited presence reflects a lifestyle that is calmer and less glamorous than the one he once lived. He no longer owns the expensive properties, the luxurious cars, or the yacht that contributed to his image during his prime. For many observers, the contrast between Sprewell's NBA earnings and his modest current lifestyle fuels the perception that his story is sad. His career earnings approached $100 million, and he was one of the most feared wing players of his generation. Yet today, he lives a quiet and modest life, lacking the financial security that many believe someone with his career should have maintained. Analysts often point to the contract rejection as the moment where everything turned. The decision to decline $21 million because it was not enough by his standards has become one of the most widely cited examples of miscalculation in sports history. Younger fans know Sprewell mostly through online stories about the incident with Carlesimo or through the contract rejection. Older fans remember him as an electric scorer with elite defensive skills, capable of taking over games and competing against the best players in the league. The narrative of his life blends both greatness and controversy, creating a story that is dramatic and complex. The financial fall is not entirely unique among professional athletes. Retirement brings challenges, and lifestyle adjustments can be difficult. Without consistent financial planning, even large earnings can erode quickly. Sprewell's story illustrates how decisions made late in a career can influence the rest of a person's life. The decline was not only a product of changing physical abilities, but also a result of misjudging market value, financial mismanagement, and holding on to expectations that no longer aligned with the realities of the NBA. His story also reflects the importance of maintaining strong relationships within organizations. The 1997 incident altered how executives and coaches saw him for the rest of his career. Even after his redemption in New York and success in Minnesota, the shadow of that moment lingered. It influenced contract offers, public perception, and opportunities after retirement. Combined with the decision to reject $21 million, the path he followed became shaped by choices that carried long-term consequences. Today, Sprewell lives quietly and mostly outside the spotlight, and many of the loudest chapters of his life are behind him. His story remains one of the NBA's most recognizable cautionary tales. Yet, it also remains a reminder that careers can shift quickly and that even the brightest stars must adapt as circumstances change. If you want to see more deep dives into the stories of past NBA stars, make sure to subscribe